Krista, your alt also got tier 2 out of the depot, and your main got to tier 3. Well, congrats on that. Yeah, this depot has certainly been a good way to upgrade a lot of officers. And again, it is a little bit of foreshadowing that, they're giving you a number of ways to upgrade officers in this particular month between making them cheaper, as well as, let me go find that blog post. Not only are they making the officers cheaper, but they're also now giving you additional sourcing for a lot of additional officers and things like that that might have been a little more tied behind some of these new faction stores and stuff that we've gotten. And I think that also kind of ties into what we've seen in some of these new events. And this was the developer insight that they just posted on the website a couple days ago. And I think that actually gives us a little bit more. I don't know if people quite understood exactly how these away team efficiencies work, right? If we go into research here for a second, we have these new away team efficiencies, all in this true here. For the crew allocations, we look at this one right here. Increases officer shard cost efficiency in unlocks and promotion for all officers in the TNG group. And starts at 10% reduction, and obviously it scales up, going all up to 150% reduction. And obviously there's ones for Ferengi, Borg. You've got Strike Team, Lower Decks, DS9. Further out here, I think you've got one for Enterprise E. There's Voyager and Strange New World. So there's plenty of these. They're going to take months unless you're buying packs to get the research materials. Take months to unlock all these. But they are incredibly valuable because they don't, as we're going to see here when they talk about it in this graphic and in this chart, if you're looking at Pike, he takes 110 shards to unlock, and as you go ahead and rank him up along the way, it's going to cost you 1,650 shards to get him maxed out. Now, if you upgrade that material to, that research and get it all the way to 100%, it can go up to 150, but if you get it to 100%, unlocking him only costs 55, ranking him up only costs 55, and again and so forth. So you can see at rank 5, to finish it up is only 440 shards. So therefore, the whole total you'll spend on him is 825. But here's the part that I think players don't quite get the value in. Because they say, okay, well, he's going from 880 to 440 on this tier, so he's saving me 440 shards, which is a lot. But is that necessarily worth investing in this particular one? That's not how they're applying the math here, though. They're applying the math here. It takes 1650 to max him out. You're reducing it to 825. Well, 100, 220, 440, 770. You're basically actually only like 50 shards away. If you have him at tier 4, you've already accumulated 770 shards. So you're only needing 55 shards more to finish him off and max him out. If he was only at tier 3 because you only have 440 shards, and now suddenly you get here and it's 110, 220, 365, 385. Well, the 400 shards you had here where you were just shy of getting him, unlocked, now is going to instantly promote him because you're already over that cap. It's adjusting the whole total number. And they do go on and explain it a little further down here, exactly what I was saying right there. If you got 500 shards, he'd only be rank 3, and he'd be getting closer to where you need him to be. Suddenly, bam, you do the application, you hit the research. So now you're actually halfway through tier 4, and you only need a little bit more to finish that officer off. So even people still working on officers, if you're like, oh, it's only going to save me a little bit here because I'm already tier 4, it might not. You might already be done. It might just finish that officer up for you. And if it's one of these officers that's a little harder to source, like somebody who's in a newer group, like Mbenga or the Kirk Boys, or some of these other groups, you could instantly be done. Or someone like Janeway, who has, kind of sporadic sourcing. You could instantly be done with that officer instead of, oh, I'm partway, I'm almost a tier 4, or I'm partway along, you know, some of this other stuff. And again, depending on the efficiencies, we take an officer, take a really ridiculously expensive officer like Jean-Luc Picard, right? It's 180 shards to unlock him. If you get this reduced, like, that's, you're saving a tremendous amount of Jean-Luc Picard. And looking at all the different groups here and obviously the different values, I think they all go up to 150%. The Ferengi one goes up to 200%. Kath, a notoriously hard to source officer, because she's just thrown into a bundle with 85 other rare officers and, ultra recruits, right? That's the only other place to get her. Suddenly, Kath just gets a whole lot cheaper. And your Kath might actually go from being like, oh, she's tier 3 and I can't really get her any shards to get her any higher, to she's done. She's maxed out. That 5 of 11 or whatever that's killing you. You can't quite get the shards to finish 5 of 11 off. Too expensive. Bam, suddenly you're done. So there's a tremendous value in a lot of these things. Your strike team crews, your strike team officers suddenly went from tier 2 to like tier 4. Possibly, depend with the number of shards you might have already acquired for them. And even some newer officers, because it's all Strange New World group, right? So that S31 Giorgio that you just got, well, they're only letting you do a 50% reduction on the Strange New World people. But that's still pretty tremendous, and that'll help people like Mbenga and the Kirks and Giorgio and Chapel, get a whole lot better. Plus they have specialty. Just get shards for this officer. These other separate ones. That Enterprise E data, or Picard, or Riker, all just got a whole lot cheaper. And it's not applying it just to what you have left. It's impacting the whole total number. So it might actually put you even further ahead than you already think you are. Or, like I said, might already make you done. So. And obviously it's something that they can keep adding on to in the future as well, right? They can put more packs or more research nodes in as we get more groups in the future. Maybe we'll get one for, Galaxy Quest or something in a few months. If they're not already in there. I haven't looked through the whole tree. Are they in there? Is there a Galaxy Quest one somewhere in this tree? Away teams? Galaxy Quests? Galaxy Quest? Lower Decks? Strike Team? Enterprise E? Strange New World? Voyager? Yeah, I don't see Galaxy Quest. So that could be one that gets added. Or the Symbiosis crew might be something that gets a node added later in the future. With the option of making those people all cheaper. So I think that could be a tremendous upgrade. Now, obviously, it's tied behind the priority team research, so it's not something that's going to have a huge impact for new players coming into the game right away. It'll be something that they're going to have to, work towards and whatnot. But players in their 40s and 50s are going to come into this fresh, into this tree, and start being able to clear up some of that stuff pretty fast and get these officers upgraded, which will then help them continue to make progress and keep pushing through the 40s and 50s a lot faster. So, what do you guys think about it? Symbiosis you can source in DTI. You can source the officers, but I mean, instead of buying those officers with that limited currency, what if you only needed half the shards? Now you can spend that DTI currency on a lot of other stuff. Chris, I think it's great design because the fact that it's retroactive means you don't have to wait to tier up the officer until after you get the research done. Absolutely, absolutely agree. You don't have to sit there holding shards going, oh, I can't promote them because I'm about to get this research done in a couple of weeks. It's like, no, go ahead and promote them now, and it'll just take it off the whole number. Yeah, it's actually a great concept. Whatever designer came up with that, you get a high five. High five. Psh. Round of applause. You guys think they're going to do it because they're going to slow down putting officers in the transporter pattern store now? It's possible they may not add them in there as much. But then again, a lot of the officers, if you do that research, you wouldn't need the transporter patterns for them because you already have enough shards acquired to just max them out. So it's possible that that might have an impact on transporter patterns. That's something that I don't know that has been discussed or considered. It's a good point there, Voltron. All right. Well, thanks for sharing, guys, and I appreciate the discussion and the feedback on it. And just wanted to make sure I pointed that out because I think it's a great addition to the game, and I'm looking forward to taking advantage of some of those someday.